Hello and welcome. Thank you for being with us today. We are really excited to welcome Ryan Atkinson and Suzie Livingston of SmartEtailing here with us to give us a really helpful and informative presentation. So I'm just going to start off. I'm Rochelle Scouten, Development Director at the NBDA. I will be here for the presentation just to kick it off and to help with questions at the end. If you do have questions, please put them in either the Q&A or the chat as we go along, and then we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. We'll have time. So without further ado, I will pass it along. Thanks for being here.
Awesome. Thanks, Rochelle. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Sorry, Ryan, I was
Oh,
hot.
no, I'm going to get the presentation going, but I mean, should we give people a couple minutes to join? Should we small talk? Did you ride in the wind yesterday?
I did, actually.
Yeah.
It was
Was
like
it as was it brutal?
I ride in the wind every day.
Yeah.
It was brutal. I was mountain biking with kind of some high school age kids that I help coach. Um, and we were up in the trees, so there was like, it was okay, but it was like 50-mile-per-hour gusts and like 38 degrees. So my feet were ice cubes.
Yeah, that's a lot. It was startling that it was 13 degrees this morning. Yeah, that's a lot. Um, all right, Susie, should I kind of get things well, should you get things rolling?
Sure, yeah, I can talk about my cold feet more, or we can talk about
let's
somebody looking
let's
in
honor our guests and get rolling.
your Yes. So, like I said, welcome. We're really excited to chat with you all today. Our topic is how to sell $600 a day on a SmartEtailing website. So just like the title, we're going in here that we're assuming that we're talking to SmartEtailing clients, but that does not mean that this information will not apply to people using other platforms. But also maybe it'll make you think about SmartEtailing. So let us know. We'd love to talk to you. So Ryan and I are kind of going to go through this as quickly as we can. We all know that Ryan is not short-winded, and I like a good segue. So we're going to try to save as much time at the end for questions. We'd love to answer questions. I guess super quick introductions. I'm Suzie Livingston. I'm the communications and marketing manager at SmartEtailing, and I love bikes. I think that's enough information about me. We've got Ryan Atkinson, whom I'm sure you all know, our president and co-owner. Oh, cool. Should we get going?
Yeah, and thanks everybody for attending. I'm sure many of you work with SmartEtailing, and so thank you, and I hope we're treating you well. And if we're ever not, please find me. But I'm going to get right into things. And so, the topic here is, $600 a day. And that is very practical to be accomplished on SmartEtailing. But it doesn't happen on its own. Bike shops with these results have an intentional plan to grow their business. And that's what we're going to talk about today. It's that basic formula on how that gets done, and then there's no black magic to it. It's just following some basic steps consistently. The results have nothing to do with physical size. They can be impacted by the size of a metro area. There's always challenging conversations when I'm working with a retailer who's in a small metro and the population densities around them are just, they're challenging to support overall growth. There are ways to try and achieve more success, but that's a limiting factor. But whether it's one location or 20 locations, these results are very feasible. I'm proud to say that SmartEtailing was really there for our clients when the peak of COVID hit. We had one client in particular doing $250,000 every week on SmartEtailing during the peak of COVID, and scores of clients doing over $100,000 a week. And so that really stress tested our system and showed us that it's able to support long-term e-commerce growth. But in the last year, one of the things I'm most proud of is that we had a boutique bike shop, a shop that you would hold up as kind of doing things really well from a rider engagement standpoint, custom bike builds, who chose to join Smart Etailing. And by actively engaging in the plan that we're going to talk about here today, has generated enough revenue to support physical expansion. And then some of our multi-store clients rank Smart Etailing as their biggest store. And so, I feel very good about how we're contributing to our clients' businesses. And we want you to have big results too. You might be cynical about this number. And so at the end, we're going to come back to it. And I'm going to unpack the $600 so that you can understand it better. And then just look at our overall network performance from a couple of different angles. Do you see kind of how it might impact you? Now, every client doesn't have an intentional plan and they're not getting these types of results. We have clients who are doing $0 in sales. Some of them have their shopping carts turned off. Others have their cards on, but they've made a choice not to invest time or energy into online sales growth and the changes in the market. So like a year ago, nobody with a cart turned on had 0 sales, and that's because organic demand was so high that a passive approach worked. But as we exit that really peak period here, and we get into more of a sustained growth period, the consumer demand has retreated, and retailers who are not actively working to get their market growing are showing a real stagnation in their online sales performance. And nobody at Smart Etailing wants you to be in this group. We want you to have a sustainable and growing business. And in today's retail market, with all the changes that are happening in the bike industry, quite frankly, you need to grow your online business because that's where the customers are. And so Suzie and I are going to take turns today, and we're going to kind of talk about what are the shops doing that are selling $600 a day, and how can you get similar results. Suzie, you want to get us started?
Yeah, for sure. So step one, having a Smart Etailing professional website is kind of the crucial piece to all this, is what we believe. We do have 3 website packages, and each with great value and incredible features. But today we're going to talk more about the professional website package. And to sell $600 a day online, you want to unlock the full potential of Smart.
Sorry, lots of buttons.
I still like the request, like, next slide, please. So here are the key features of the professional website package that really set you up for maximum e-commerce growth potential. First and foremost, you want to be able to display all of your up-to-date inventory online, including having the ability to add custom or your branded items. This also includes the ability to display an expanded inventory from your brands and supplier warehouses. And of course, ship to home capabilities. It's very convenient for your customers. And lastly, drop shipping. So put your customers, put your suppliers to work. So let your customers shop an expanded selection with the convenience of ship to home, and all while you close the sale and collect the customer data. So those features are in addition to these features that are included in every Smart Etailing website package. So an integrated financing solution, buy online, pick up in store solutions, or capabilities, I should say. Pre-built catalog items with images and descriptions, complimentary seasonal marketing content that we add monthly, and content from our brand suppliers to help you promote key categories and new bike releases, an online service scheduler, and lastly, our newest feature, which is online sales quotes. This is super powerful. It's going to allow you to email your customers pre-populated shopping carts. So you probably recognize a lot of these logos. I've shopped at probably most of these. And our goal at Smart Etailing is to offer software to keep you competitive with national retailers like these. From highly regarded brands like REI on the left over to, brands that may be your suppliers, like on the right. And chances are that you share customers with these brands. So the professional website package is packed with features to let you compete with national and retail chains, pure e-commerce brands, and direct-to-consumer brands that you may already be working with. But Smart Etailing has advantages that they don't. Like that sees the content that we mentioned, the ability to display, sell, and ship directly from your suppliers is huge. And map protection to help make sure that you're compliant. So you can match the technical capabilities of the big sellers, like we saw on the last slide, with a fraction of the payroll and IT costs.
And that last point that Suzie made is really important here is, those big sellers that we showed there, I mean, have hundreds of thousands of dollars of payroll dedicated to, their online stores. And that's building the content, and hundreds of thousands of dollars of IT investments, not just a startup, but then maintaining integrations over time, and keeping the system secure. Many of you might not know this, but the Smart Etailing websites are under constant attack. We're repelling malicious hackers virtually every day. And so when you're on a standalone platform, like some of those other sellers, they have to have a team that is protecting themselves the way that we're protecting your business. But the platform is powerful. The platform can support the growth that we're talking about here. And I believe, like I've shared, we have clients doing well into 7 figures off of the Smart Etailing platform, but it doesn't happen on its own. And once you have that professional package, then what do you do with it? And that is, take the quality of your business. When somebody walks through your front door, they experience you as a high quality bike shop. How do we ensure that your website presence lives up to that standard? So the customer who's shopping online, either with the intent to buy or the intent to come in your store, really gets a sense of who you are and you look like that premium business that you are. So how do you go about that? First, invest in design. Building out a website is a lot like building out a physical store. The tools are available to you to do it yourself. We have drag and drop tools, pre-built content, pre-designed templates, the ability to style the fonts and colors to match your brand. And you can build a good looking Smart Etailing website on your own. But just like your physical store, you may choose to bring in a contractor, and the contractor could level up the quality of the build, and that might make a real difference in terms of how customers experience your business. Well, the same is true with us. We have a full marketing team that's there to invest in design for you. And we do that for the vast majority of the dealers who are in that upper echelon of selling. And that's because they want to make sure that when a consumer lands on their site, that it has a look and feel that's comparable to the big brands that we showed earlier. You want to maintain your site. Again, this is just like your physical store. When a customer walks in that kind of landing zone, the first 10 feet, they're going to see, seasonal merchandising you do. That's what they do in your store. That's what happens in REI when they walk through the door. When you go to REI's website, you're going to see that the online store is merchandised consistent with the in-store experience. So they understand that that's a virtual front door, and that's your opportunity too. And so really going into your homepage on a monthly basis and making key updates around, seasonal product, hot categories, new arrivals, brand promotions, and really being intentional around when somebody walks in, or am I showing them the right things? Am I directing them to the product that I think that, the vast majority of the customers walking through my door are buying right now? The homepage is more than just graphics. It's also a navigational entry point. Just like walking to a store and scanning your surroundings, and you see signage, you see types of products, you get a sense of, do I turn left and do I turn right? Well, the vast majority of your traffic is going to come into your homepage. Some consumers will use the navigational on the top of a desktop or behind the hamburger menu on a mobile device. Others will scroll down the page and try to find their way into the site that the way that they want. You really want to be intentional about that homepage. It isn't just to be promotions stacked on top of one another. It's a way to really direct that traffic towards your services and the products that you sell. It's critical that you keep speed and mobile traffic in mind in any of the customization work that you do. Our team, of course, keeps that top of mind in everything we do. But a fast website is very important to keep engagement from consumers on your site. We're going to talk later about how it's very attractive to Google. And over half of your traffic is coming in on mobile devices. And many of those devices are on a cellular network versus a wireless network. And so if a consumer has to wait more than 2 seconds for a site to load, they're going to hit the back button and they're going to go visit someone else. So the way that plays out for many of our clients is when you're building a page out, it may be common for you to ask the mechanic who works for you to go into Photoshop and build these graphics and load them up into the site. And those graphics can be very bulky. They can load very slow, especially if there's a lot of them on the page. And then if the text is built into the images and the consumer has to pinch and zoom in order to read what's on it, that's a really bad experience and they may leave. It also opens you up to risk. If you put text within a graphic, it is not what's called ADA compliant or accessible to people with visual impairments. And so, don't take on that risk. It's a win-win for your business if you focus on mobile, fast, and accessible. And then lastly, partner with brands. That's the advantage of SmartEtailing is we're part of a connected network in the IBD channel. And so the biggest suppliers work with us on building out co-marketing projects. So here's a sample of what some of those look like. These are big brands that want to highlight new products or a certain category. We do several projects of this type every month. In some cases, the brands will pay to have them installed on your site. All you have to do is check your inbox and say, yes, I want it. In other cases, it's in our library and you can import it on your own. But make sure if you have the product on your sales floor, that it isn't just represented within the shoppable catalog on your site, but you're taking that really high volume of homepage traffic that you have, directing them towards this exciting new product that you have, and that goes to these pages that the brands have invested in so that your website has the same on-brand messaging and premium look and feel that your supplier partners do as well. So it really creates a partnership between you and your vendors in a way that can leverage their resources in order to help you sell the products that you've purchased from them.
Cool. Yeah, so you already have this great content and this great looking website. So the next step is going to be to get more visits from your existing customers. Increase traffic and sales with outbound marketing and promoting the convenience of your website are essential. We always are going to recommend leveraging those relationships that you already have and the data that you've collected. An important note is it's more affordable to market to existing customers and keep them coming back than to acquire new ones. So let's look specifically at email marketing. This is one of the best ways and actually one of the more affordable ways to get back in front of your customers. And there are two main types of emails, marketing emails, I should say. Starting with promotional emails. So, pardon me, sorry. So promotional emails are really what most of us think about when we think of email marketing. These emails are typically focused on sending a general message that you want all of your customers to receive, maybe like announcing sales, local rides and events, be building brand awareness, or promoting key categories like the example that you see here. So here are some best practices to think about when you're putting your promotional emails together. Keep it topical and then support that throughout the body of the email. Like this example, they're leading with fat bikes. In that main graphic, they have a little bit of supporting copy. And then following through, they're going to have some subtopics featuring specific models that they have in stock, starting with that bear grease. We like to see, a main graphic and maybe 4 to 5 supporting topics throughout the email. But keep it topical. Make sure it makes sense and flows. Next, keep it clear and concise. So we always say, write for skimmers. Can a customer get value out of this at a glance? Looking back at this email again, I could take a quick glance. I don't even need to read through that body of content copy. And I know this is about fat bikes. It's a fat bikes that they have in stock, ready to buy now, and they're featuring some of their favorite models. Next, make sure it's mobile first. So just like Ryan said, make sure that your emails are going to display well on every screen size. An important note too is like this, the ability to preview your email on different screen sizes is built in to most email platforms. We specifically work with MailChimp pretty often with our clients, and that specifically you can look at, phone, mobile, and so on. Phone, mobile, phone, tablet. I have not had enough coffee today. No, I'm just kidding. I think I've had plenty. Next, play with different subject lines and mix things up, experiment, and collect data. So we always, try different short and descriptive subject lines to get your customers' attention. And don't be afraid to maybe like mix in emojis from time to time. I'm not a personal emoji person, but it really, like just for my personal lifetime use, but they really, so don't let that stop you. It really helps you stand out in people's inbox, but use them sparingly, maybe not every time. Just kind of sprinkle it in from time to time. And lastly, include a clear CTA with direct links. You're sending an email to get your customers to take a specific action. So make sure that you're presenting that to them clearly. Use buttons and links with phrases like shop now, schedule your service, or check out our events calendars. You see in this example, lock down your fat bike. That's going to link to all of their in-stock fat bikes. Nice and easy. And most effective. So these emails are most effective at speaking to a large audience and increasing sales on your website and traffic. So while promotional emails are general and speak to a wide audience, automated emails are designed to speak to each of your customers as individuals with specific needs and preferences. Automated emails are data driven. That's where kind of the power of them lies. They're going to leverage your customer and purchase history and your POS and allow you to pull in everything from maybe their name to the subject line that they see in their inbox to catch their attention, to the bike they bought, maybe the last time they got their bike serviced, and so on. And because of that the ability to integrate with your POS system and that personalization, they're the highest performing emails when looking at open rates and click-through rates. And then next, the goal of automated emails is to build loyalty, really through that personalized messaging, I should say, more specifically, like the example you see here. So this email went out to a consumer who bought a gravel bike 30 days prior. So you can see, the image, it relates to the type of bike they bought. The copy mentions gravel bikes and helps keep it specific to that type of riding. So it feels really relevant to them and what they're looking to do. Pardon me. And they're really efficient to maintain. This is why we love automated emails. The best part of automated emails is that they're automated, So utilizing email services like Retail Toolkit, we have some other clients who use different services as well. But you can set up these email campaigns and let them run. Stay top of mind with your customers without lifting a finger. Maybe just check in on them every year, make sure those images, like the bike image, is up to date. This is something you're promoting, models that you maybe actively have on your floor or a current model year, but pretty simple. And next, just kind of like building loyalty. These really are aimed at enhancing the experience of the customer, the gear that they bought from you. So again, like the example, we're offering a clear CTA that leads the customer to a curated page of accessories and also reminds them that their purchase came with a free tune-up. That's obvious value to them. This is effective in so many ways, like this email. You're helping your customer ride more, love their bike. You're reinforcing the value of your expertise and your customer service, and you're bringing them back into the store. That's just like a win-win. And next, a really important outbound marketing tool is going to be social. Of course, we have a few different logos here of some of the most popular social channels, and it's important to keep your eye on emerging platforms like TikTok, but don't feel pressured to have to be dabbling in every single one. Pick a couple that you can be consistent with and kind of go from there. So we recommend sticking with or utilizing Facebook and Instagram. I mean, they're connected, and each service offers a specific purpose for your business and can drive results. So Facebook is really great for promoting your local events, and linking back to your website when possible. So that's really important in posts when you're promoting. Maybe you got a new bike in. You've got, hey, we just got all of our lights. We're leading into the fall. Link to those. Make it easy for customers to check them out and interact with your website. And of course, Instagram is really ideal for discoverability, utilizing maybe unique hashtags. And they can just, I don't know, follow you as a loyal fan, check out your staff, new things as they arrive, all that good stuff. And of course, in person, we mentioned this really briefly, but your website isn't just this kind of thing to throw out there for your customers to stumble upon on their own, and interact with it kind of in a vacuum. Like, this is an excellent tool. So here are some ways that you can leverage your website in person. So it's really helpful for looking up. So rather than, you're working with a customer in your store, they want it be a different color for this specific helmet. Rather than going behind the counter and maybe they can't see what you're doing, you're looking it up in your POS system. Grab a tablet like Hannah. This is our beautiful account manager. I mean, not a model. It's very deceiving. But grab a tablet if it's something you have available to you, or your cell phone, and pull that item up and show the variations. And maybe it's available with your supplier and they can check out and have it delivered to your home, their home, not your home. And, or maybe it's at another one of your locations and you can have it transferred, or they can just go over and get it right now. So super helpful. We also recommend, mention at checkout. So maybe, someone just bought something, but they're light, but they were also looking at a lock, but they didn't go ahead and pull the trigger on the lock. I don't know why. Please lock up your bikes, people. But just use it as a reminder. Say like, hey, I know you're still thinking about that lock. You can go, like, if you decide and change your mind, you can purchase it on their website and pick it up at your convenience at our store. I guess that's a similar example to walkaways. So, same thing, someone wanted to think about it for a bit. You can even send that link to that item to the customer before they leave. If they want to go shop around, maybe compare variations or colors or prices, and just make it easy for them to come back. It's really going to increase your conversion rates on your website as well. Another piece is store signage. So this is a really great passive tool. So just kind of put that message out there. You offer click and collect, buy online, pick up in store. Here's a URL to our website, so that they can come back at their convenience and shop the way they want to shop. I also prefer to shop in my pajamas, so click and collect is. And of course, events. I think we're already looking forward to Bike to Work Week or Bike to Work Month. That's a really great example. Maybe you have a booth and you have someone come by with almost a flat tire and their tires are worn out. You pump up their tire, you get them through the rest of their ride, but you go ahead and pull up a tire that you would recommend that's in the right size. Maybe it's a tread type that's great for commuting or everyday riding, and go ahead and send them that link, and then they can go ahead and buy it and stop by your store and have it installed for a small fee. So a really great tool. Earlier, we also mentioned quotes. This is a great way to use this as well. So like we mentioned, maybe it's that example with the tire, or maybe, we mentioned the example with the lock. So make it even easier. You can email them that pre-populated shopping cart. So they can just go ahead, click the link in the email. They can edit it, add to it, learn a little bit more about the products, but it's all good to go. It's a lot faster that way for them too.
Nice. That last slide is one that I'm maybe most excited about, because like digital marketing, it's going to be the key driver of growth. But the more you can weave your website into the way that you do business, these are customers who are already like proven to want to work with your local business, but just make sure that they know they have convenient access to you. So quick time check, we're at about 30 minutes. I'm going to try and pick up my pace. We have 2 more steps to cover, and then we're going to be getting to questions. So if you have questions about the professional website, maintaining your website, or getting going with outbound marketing, post those up now while they're fresh in your mind. But I'm going to talk about getting new customers versus what Suzie talked about in terms of building loyalty with people you already have. So I'd say the number one question we get, or questions we get, are around SEO, which is search engine optimization. This is also called organic search. So somebody goes into Google and types in something like bike shop near me. What comes up that is not a paid ad? This is also one of the most popular ways that marketing companies try to sell to you. So you've probably fielded a lot of calls with people sending you scary reports that have a bunch of big red numbers on them, and say that if you pay us a certain amount, we're gonna change this around for you. I'm not a big fan of those companies. I think that it's more important just to keep things simple. For one, SEO isn't going to be the biggest driver of your growth. It's very, very important for being found, but it's not going to generate the sales that some of the other tools we talked about are. So keep it simple. So first, SEO is baked into SmartEtailing. We're lightning fast. Virtually all key components are built with what's called structured data. So Google can easily see what is a product, what is a category, what's your location information. So that really serves up and plays to how Google likes to work. And then when content that we build or content that you build, we have all the header styles and URL structure in there to really play to make sure that Google knows what's on this page and bring in organic search traffic for you. But the things that you can do is really just focus on engaging content. Again, there's no magic formula, but it's just putting fresh content on your site, maintaining it regularly. Use that complementary marketing content that Suzie talked about, either from brands or that's in the marketing library with us. Import it in. If you do nothing, it already delivers value as long as you kind of link to it, either from your homepage or ideally through some outbound marketing as well. Or modify it, localize it, build cross-links in as you in order to really get more engagement and clicks on your website and make your website even more shoppable. Or write your own content. You know the questions your customers are asking. You know what you want to have a link destination for. Invest the time. Just add a couple of pages a year, and over time, your website's going to get more and more valuable. But really, that's the key. Deliver value. Make sure a page answers a question, and don't try to trick Google. Don't try to stuff a bunch of keywords in there. They're too smart for that. So really, just focus on making sure that the customer finds something that they're interested in, and then really drive that traffic. There is no fast solution for SEO. So you're not going to build an electric bikes page and then tomorrow show up at the top of electric bike searches in your business. This really builds over time. And really know that, no matter what you do, every time you go to your phone and type in the thing that you want to find, you're not always going to show up on page 1. So it's kind of a numbers game. It's how do you improve your opportunities and support your business in a structural way. Now, what's the more active plan? What are the $600 a day clients? What are they doing? And the number one thing they're doing is SEM, or search engine marketing. This is paid search. And over on the left-hand side of this screen are your what's called top of funnel ads. How do you raise awareness about your business or product categories by showing up on YouTube, or like the picture style ads that show up on websites as you browse the internets? This is trying to get your brand in front of an audience that you've targeted, certain demographics, certain geographic area. Google's very smart, as you see in your own browsing. And so putting these ads in place, you can really build awareness around your business. But the real high producers are on the right-hand side. First search and then shopping. And shopping is the number one. But for search, you know what this is. You type in something related to bike shop near me, Trek bikes, Specialized bikes, whatever it might be. And you see at the top of the kind of text listings, a couple of listings that have the little ad icon next to them. It's a way that brands and retailers like you really insert themselves on the top of page 1, or really just throughout the search results, higher than organic commonly. especially when you're competing with much bigger businesses. And this allows you to kind of show up in more broad searches like mountain bikes or electric bikes or bike repair. And these are great investments for just driving those shoppers who are interested in those things and driving foot traffic to your business. And then, but it's not every click is going to lead to a sale. What's going to give you the highest production, the higher return on investment is going to be shopping ads. This is for customers who really know what they want to buy. They're going to look for a specific saddle or a specific light. You don't want to leave it to chance, or rather you want to improve the likelihood that your business and your e-commerce website shows up in those searches. You have the opportunity to win those sales. Unfortunately, if you're not playing in the shopping space, e-commerce growth is going to be really challenging for you, or at least the growth that we're talking about here. So this is the number one thing you can invest in if you really want to turn this into a, more than $250,000 a year business for you. So what does that look like? Here's a couple of examples. Searching for a Bontrager light. Well, and what we're doing is we're highlighting one of our clients, Wheat Ridge Cyclery out of the Denver Metro. You can see searching for a Bontrager light. The big players in this space are REI and Trek Advertising direct to consumers. But look at that. The retailer, based on my proximity, and I live 30 miles away from Wheat Ridge, but because Wheat Ridge is the retailer in this market who's actively advertising on Google, it is showing me them over, let's say, 6 Trek retailers that are between here and there. And then on the right-hand side, same with Specialized. You can see that Specialized, Backcountry, and Competitive are all advertising to close this sale, but there's Wheat Ridge right next to them, top of page 1 in the carousel. They're going to have a high likelihood of closing this sale because a lot of customers want to buy local, and so you're going to get clicks off of that. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about here is Buy Local Now. This is a free service by SmartEtailing. This is baked in. If you already have a SmartEtailing website, you don't have to worry about a thing. If you don't have a SmartEtailing website, make sure you have a free account. But this allows your inventory to be visible on the brands you see on the left and scores of other ones. Some offer the ability to directly sell out of your inventory like Giant does. Others like Kryptonite or Park will direct traffic to your website so consumers one click away from buying. But the majority of our clients who don't do active marketing, Buy Local Now is the #1 referrer of traffic to their websites. So this is an exceptional tool for retailers who really aren't going to take some of those more active plans that we have. But these are your brands working to drive sales to your business.
Yeah, so we talked a lot about, you being a local bike shop, first and foremost, and then also a lot about national retailers. So, like many of us have experienced, our national retailers really set the precedent for how we as consumers interact with brands online. So, it's really important to have processes and procedures in place and, your staff cross-trained to manage online orders in order to deliver that same excellent customer service as if the shopper was in the store. So, starting with data hygiene, keeping pace top of mind. Inventory control. This is so important, and this has definitely, obviously, been a challenge through COVID. This is top of mind for lots of people. But make sure that you're performing regular cycle counts to ensure that your up-to-date inventory is displaying. Next is product mapping. So some POS sync maintenance in your site manager is also essential. So from time to time, you have brands or items that you receive that don't have a UPC or an MPN. So periodically go in and review your pending mappings to make sure that connection between items in your POS and items in the product library is made. And once you do that once, it'll remember. So just go ahead and, just check that out from time to time. And like supplier sync, like we mentioned, really leveraging your suppliers. So something important to remember here is you have a lot of control over the brands and categories from your supplier houses display on your website. So make sure you're taking advantage of every opportunity to connect your customers with the gear that they want. Adjust settings. Oh, and another point, sorry. So adjust settings where necessary there to maybe expand options, in your inventory. But another point too is this can be used kind of in the other direction, I guess, by adjusting settings to exclude certain brands or certain categories to minimize pain points. We've mentioned, I think, like, are we ever going to not mention COVID? I feel like that's just, it's a consistency in our lives. So, there's been some categories that have been harder to get. So maybe those ones might be easier to exclude and just kind of reduce those pain points and that friction. Next, associate transactions. So every time you ring a customer up, make sure an online order up, make sure that that customer with you associate that customer with an existing customer record. So say, Ryan came in and he purchased a bike in your store, but then he bought maybe a light and a helmet on the website. So make sure that those are connected in his customer history, because data is very reliable for future marketing efforts. And then next is collect customer data. We talked about outbound marketing. You're going to need customers' emails in order to do so. So, and just like with data is valuable, your customer history is data is customer information is valuable as well. Sorry about that. So train your staff to ask every time they check someone out. An email address has monetary value, and it's important for your whole team to understand that, while of course respecting your customers' privacy if they choose not to hand it out. So next up is, while someone is actively shopping. So our most successful retailers, they leverage technology to communicate effectively with their shoppers. Live chat has become increasingly popular. I don't know what's going on, you guys. I'm falling apart over it. Live, live chat is becoming increasingly popular. It's possible. I think that's right. A lot of live chat platforms integrate with SmartEtailing websites. It's really easy. You just grab a code and we stick it in your header tags. Anyone on our success team can help with that. Or if you're already a member or you work with a member of our agency team, they can help with that too at no additional cost. But also important to kind of check your social media. Like we mentioned, maybe Facebook and Instagram come to mind first. We do see questions come through Facebook Messenger and Instagram DMs, or even in the comments. So just kind of build that into, someone's daily duties to keep an eye on those things. Next, make sure your Google business profile is up to date. I personally, I'll sometimes go to Google to verify people's business hours if I'm going to stop by. It's a great place to keep your, some of your business practices or policies up to date. During COVID, this was a time that it was really easy to see if a retailer was offering, curbside pickup, or if masks were required, or if they had any other requirements of their customers. And so it's easy to see, it's going with expectations. And an important note is obviously, Google is going to be ever evolving to kind of keep up with modern retail. And we've really seen that over the past few years. And next, don't forget about the traditional methods. People are still going to email you and call you on the phone. So make sure that every member of your staff is ready to answer questions about your website and help a customer close a sale and shop the way that they want to shop. And so, our most successful clients, they're managing the communication methods and working them into job descriptions and daily duties. And lastly, post-purchase. So the customer has made the purchase. They've entered their credit card information. Now what? I can make the argument that this step is almost most important for delivering that excellent customer service and encouraging the customer to come back and make a purchase with you again. So make sure that your order notices are configured and up to date. Built into the SmartEtailing, you have a few different automated messages that go out automatically when someone makes a purchase, whether that's an order confirmation email, or there's an order confirmation notice, like a landing page that pops up when someone completes a purchase, and some other other features like that through the purchase process, through the purchase process. So, give these automated emails like your order notice or order confirmation email a review from time to time. So many retailers, we were having to really give customers a lot of information once they purchased during COVID to know that this is how you can pick it up. Please wear your mask, bring your ID. There's a lot of information. So just make sure that you're giving that a review and it's part of your order management process. Next, make sure that you're checking orders in your site manager regularly and that you have your order notice emails going to the correct email addresses for the folks on your staff that manage your orders. And next, of course, is effectively communicating. Like we mentioned, there are so many automated messages built into your SmartEtailing website that are really essential to utilize and maintain. But also there's some other things. So maybe there's a delay. So just be prepared to keep your customers up to date, give them all the essential information. We've seen some retailers use like a cheat sheet, Google Doc or Google Sheet, with just snippets of easy to copy and paste information. Like if there's a delay here, you can use this content. If maybe it's arrived earlier, here's this content, things like that. And really make it easy to effectively communicate with your customers. And next, have a click and collect process. So make sure you have an organized location in your store for managing your online orders for in-store pickup, and make sure every member of your staff can assist your customer when an item is ready for pickup. A customer's going to come in, they're going to ask the first person they see. They're excited to get their new gear. So just make sure, whether they're in sales or service or a bike fitter, is ready to just, navigate them and give them information they need. And last, make suggestions, or more importantly, maybe ask questions. So just as if that customer had initiated that purchase in store, think about what your usual spiel is. What are some questions that you might ask, or things that you might suggest? That could be knowledge or gear. That's really going to help the customer get the most out of their purchase. How can you ensure that they have a great experience with the item they purchased from you? Or maybe ask some follow-up questions. So maybe that customer bought a pair of pedals on your website, but maybe double check if they know how to install them. Cool. So I think we've got just 5 minutes more of our presentation. So please go ahead and submit your questions, and we're going to have Ryan close us out.
And I'm going to try and go fast, I promise. So what I told you earlier is that we were going to unpack the $600 a day number so you can understand it better. So let's look at measuring the SmartEtailing network a couple of different ways. So first, average. So if we look at well over 1,000 retailers on our network, and we measure the pure average of that total sample set, that's where the $600 a day comes from, and roughly $250,000 a year. Some vendors that you work with or try to sell to you may only focus on that number. SmartEtailing is a humble company. We're building partnerships. So we want to look at that distribution of sales a couple of different ways, so you make sure that you feel well informed about, how are your peers doing? So another way we can look at the average is what's called the trimmed mean. And what that does is it takes the top 5% of performers and the bottom 5% of the performers out, and then measures the average or the mean. So when you take that into account, it does drop the numbers down a bit, but it answers that question of, well, does this make sense if there's some retailers that are doing $10 million a year on their website? Well, trimmed mean takes them out of the equation and says, okay, what's a realistic number to look at? And then if we look at the most conservative way of determining what an average is, you can look at the median, and that's looking at the total distribution and just saying, what's the number that's right in the middle? And this is from the 0 up to that 10 million. That's $145 a day, $50,000 a year. So the most conservative approach, if you're willing to do some of these steps that Suzie and I talked about, you can add $50,000 a year of revenue with a very high profit margin, not just from the product standpoint, but think about how little you have to invest operationally in online sales. You're not paying additional rent. You're not paying additional payroll. You're paying for a subscription, and the sales are there for you. Before the call, I pulled up a couple of other stats, looking at a rolling 12-month look at our client base. So 32 Smart Etailing clients sold over $1 million on their website, over the last 12 months. The largest single location seller did about $5 million. Many of the rest are multi-stores. We had 135 clients meet this standard of, well, I rounded up to $250,000 of the last 12 months. And over 300 clients did over $100,000 in that time frame. So ask yourself, can you fit into one of those groups? There is a lot of opportunity on Smart Etailing. So how do you benchmark yourself? We use a number called revenue per visit. It's a great way to normalize a retailer against their peers in terms of just how productive is the website? What are the opportunities? So do some math on your own. Go into your Google Analytics and find your site traffic over the last 12 months. If you do not have an e-commerce website, multiplying that number by $2 gives you some insight into what are the lost sales opportunity. What could I be selling if I were converting this traffic that was coming to my business? If you have a number that's lower than $2, you might look at that first slide or the second step that we talked about, which is improving your website experience to make sure that you're converting more sales for people that come to your site, or looking at that loyalty marketing and really making sure you're bringing in high quality traffic so that it is going to convert at a higher rate. If you are higher than $2, that can, it can be good, but also it may tell you something else. It may mean that you don't have enough traffic. It may mean that you have a little too passive a strategy. The majority of customers who are buying from you are buying bikes online just as a matter of convenience. It may mean that your accessory sales volume isn't high enough. So higher than $2 revenue per visit is always not a good thing. Suzie, we have 10 minutes left. Let's go rapid fire. We said we were going to allow ourselves 30 seconds for these. Let's do 15 seconds. So first, my question for you, I'm a retailer. Oh, and a reminder, if you haven't put your questions in yet, put them in now. Okay, Suzie, I'm a retailer. I want people visiting my store. I don't want to be an online seller. 15 seconds.
Great. We want customers visiting your store as well. So important to remember, online store and brick and mortar store, they're no longer separate. That's not really a division. Your online store is meant to complement, I feel like I'm talking so fast. Your online store is meant to complement your, I'm very distracted by that.
I totally screwed you up.
Yes, you did. One quick note. Having an e-commerce store is one of the best tools to drive more traffic to your store. 85% of purchases online start with an online interaction.
Wonderful. Okay, my turn.
But Ryan, I can't compete online.
One of the number one things statements I hear, and of course that is not true. The numbers I shared earlier prove it. Your customers shop online every single day. You can participate in that process. Customers want to buy local, and if you create the invitation, they'll buy from you. And then Google incentivizes local businesses, or is incentivized to serve local business, because that means there's more businesses that can buy ads from them. So there is this loop. You're not going to win every sale. You're not going to show up at the top of every search, but yes, you can compete and you can generate real dollars. Okay, last question for you, Suzie, but I don't have the time or money to do this.
I understand. I'd break the answer to this question into two parts, kind of your online sales and then your marketing. So online sales, Ryan ran through all of those numbers, the average, the median, the trim mean. That's not a ton of orders a day. So it's pretty manageable. I would say it's very manageable. It's not that different or not extra time than even having to, it's actually less time than having to close a sale in store. Next, the marketing playbook, in order to support this, it's really not that complicated. We're going to recommend at least maybe 1 email a month, 3 social posts a week, and delegate that work out. There's probably a member of your staff that would love to do that. And it's easy and affordable to outsource some of your marketing as well. We might know somebody.
Love it. All right, I'm going to stop screen sharing. Rochelle, do we have questions, and can you fire them our way?
Yes, we do have a lot of questions coming in, so we'll see how many we can get to. And if we don't have time today, we'll make sure to pass them on so that we can answer them via email.
Thank you.
So the first one is, you might have answered some of this, but I just want to make sure the question is answered. This person says they had a pro package for 3 years and it gave them exposure, but not the level of online sales that they wanted. So they're asking, what are the add-ons that are critical to the $600 a day? And what package can they get that makes it so that you handle all of that? And then the part 2 to the question is, what's the ETA on the SMS marketing?
I'll take this one, Suzie. So the reality is COVID did change virtually everything for the vast majority of our clients. So pre-COVID, we had that top 5% lived alone in the $1 million a year sales. When COVID hit, all of our clients saw a boost. And so if your experience was pre-COVID, the market is very different than it was then. So I would come back. I think it's very reasonable to expect $10,000 to $15,000 a month in online sales with a few of the things that we talked about. And the system has, of course, gotten better. We've been completely rebuilding it. It's faster, more optimized for Google, better checkout, and we keep investing. So highly recommend you give us another shot. Other systems, I'd have an email marketing system like MailChimp. I'd engage with their social platforms. I'd periodically pay for boosting social posts. I'm a big fan of Retail Toolkit for their email automations and loyalty program, but you do have choices out there. And then Google Ads, even if you start with a modest budget, get that going. SMS directly through our platform. We have SMS notifications for orders on our roadmap, but I don't remember exactly where it's at. But full messaging system is not something that we currently have plans for.
All right, perfect. Does your service work for brands that do not have physical retail stores?
No, we're 100% committed to physical local bike shops. We know we're going to have to revisit that for the mobile businesses if that business becomes more prevalent. But no, we do not work with pure play online sellers. We're all about local bike shops.
Perfect. Going back to where you showed you searched for a product online and Wheatridge showed up. This question is, did Wheatridge advertise that light and saddle specifically for it to show up, or did Google just pick it up?
Suzie, you want to take that one?
Yeah. So I believe they're working with us. We manage their Google ads. We did not specifically choose those items to advertise. So we can get kind of granular to look at promoting certain categories. We can promote specific items, but we see the best results if we advertise pretty aggressively with just all your shippable items.
Yep. So we connect with the Google data feed to Google, all shippable items display. And then our team does shift budget around towards the highest performing and highest return products. And the biggest name brands like Trek and Specialized or Bontrager and Specialized tend to get the biggest performance.
All right, great. Just a few more. How do I get my vendors to understand the importance of working with SmartEtailing and providing content for product catalogs?
Let them know that you've invested in housing their inventory within your store, and you need them to help you sell it. And the number one way they can do that is to get onto SmartEtailing so customers see you have it. Also, you've committed to their brand, but you can only stock a few of their SKUs. If they want you to be a more productive outlet for them, then SmartEtailing allows them to connect to the distributors that they work with to make sure that a broader assortment of their products can sell through your business. And just say, hey, email support@smartetailing.com and just talk to somebody. Submitting content is free, and we'll do the legwork to make it happen.
Next question, do you plan on creating more content that can reflect a more diverse geographic and demographic makeup? We're in a beach town on the East Coast, and we feel that some of the marketing content just doesn't reflect our shop's environment.
Yeah.
So the seasonal marketing content, stay in touch with us about it. I think that's one of our challenges. I mean, our marketing, you know, are there beaches or palm trees, or are there mountains that look like the Pacific Northwest or the deserts of Arizona? If you need help customizing anything we've created, don't be shy, reach out to us. Whenever possible, we'll try and do it without any additional investment on your part, but with a modest investment, we can build anything that you want. But you know, I do apologize. We sometimes do, you know, kind of aim for the middle.
Does the pro package that you offer include the new fee for authorized.net?
Okay, so authorized.net is a payment gateway. So for those who don't know, and you have, I believe, access to 3 payment gateways right now, plus financing. So the gateways are WePay, authorized.net, and PayPal. The new authorized.net integration has a separate fee that will be billed on a monthly basis. And I think that fee kicks in, Suzie, is it August, or help me, do you know?
July.
July, okay. So no, it will not be included in the base subscription fee. It is an add-on, and that's very similar to what like a Shopify does, for example.
Right. Another one about vendors. Yesterday, a vendor told me to stop selling their product online. Buy online, pick up in store is not an option. How do I navigate this with vendor who has authorized online retailers?
So if it's a vendor like, say, Wahoo, that wants to be very hands-on with selecting the dealers who are online partners, you need to try and work your way up through the sales management chain to see, what do I need to do to get to sell online? What Wahoo should know is SmartEtailing is a very compliant partner. We have a vested interest in having a healthy channel, and we have automatic MAP protection to make sure that sellers in our system don't sell below MAP. So it's really just helping the brand understand that you see this as a growth opportunity and you want to be a good partner. If it's, say, an arbitrary statement, let's say a brand says, well, no, I want to sell online only through my own site or Jensen or something like that, then it's also going up through the sales channel and helping them open their eyes in terms of what the modern consumer expects from a retailer. And if you can't sell their products online, you can't devote the floor space to them if you're not going to have that option to meet your customers where they are. And I'm happy to connect with those brands. I have those conversations regularly.
Also, yes, we have some other additional team members, that manage those brand relationships that are happy to help to support you in that as well.
All right, looks like one more question and then we'll be through here. This person says, I'm not an SEO pro, but where is the whole industry with index now?
Maybe I'm out of date. I'm sorry. I don't know what index now is. Yeah, maybe let me give you my email address, ryan.a@smartetailing.com. Send me an email and I will look into that. And if there's a good answer, I'll let you know.
All right. Thank you so much. If anyone has any more questions, please send them along, info@nbda.com or Ryan's email, which he just gave out. We're happy to pass along questions. And I know Ryan is always willing to answer anything that comes his way. So thank you again for being here.
Thanks, everybody.
Have a good one.